So we've got unemployment data coming out tomorrow with the release of the quarterly labour force survey. Will there be an improvement, even a marginal one, as the country grapples with high unemployment and low growth? If there is an increase, where would it come from? Plus, we'll reflect on the SABC's exclusive interview with Thuja Capital CEO Mthunzi Mdwaba, who is unapologetic about his claims that ANC SG Fikile Mbalula tried to solicit a bribe from him. You'll recall Mbalula is already on the record denying those claims and also promising legal action. What's going on? Tshepo Mongoai is our SABC News economics editor and joins us now. We'll get to that issue perhaps a little bit later. The one thing that we're all seized with in this economy is these numbers, and they're really quite disturbing. We had some gains in our last survey, 32.9% in Q1 to 32.6% in Q2. The expanded rate also dropping. Where's your money at? Is it going to go down even further, or there can be some bad news, Tshepo?
Well, if you look at the recent data, I know some of this data obviously will fall into the fourth quarter. But broadly, look at mining, look at manufacturing. I mean, classical example, we've had recently, Sibanye is going to cut jobs, 4,000 jobs. Anglo is also looking at, reducing the headcounts. We know the sector is really under pressure. For many other reasons, commodity prices have really come down. So that will have a bearing on jobs. Manufacturing is also under strain. Of course, consumer spending, remember, Iman, consumer spending is very important for this economy. Almost 2/3 of the contribution from the GDP, it's mainly from the consumer spending. And we know with high inflation, prices have gone up. You ask big retailers, it takes a little bit longer to get the stock replenished, to change, because it takes longer for it to sell. So all that, it means that confidence in the economy, confidence for businesses to employ, to create jobs, usually it becomes a little bit lower. And we should have seen this. Remember, preparations for the festive season starts 3-4 months before
What's
the month.
that, some families will say? We're barely hanging on. What do you mean? There will be no pudding this year.
I mean, we should have already started some signs in terms of manufacturers and businesses in getting more people in. But we're not really seeing that. So, of course, many economists that we spoke to are saying that we could see a slight uptick. A slight uptick, maybe back to the 32.9 that we started with in the first quarter of this year.
You mean a worsening, really? Not necessarily a gain, then?
No, that's worse. We are. In terms of unemployment, we could see it ticking up slightly.
Here's the thing, though. What everyone has to realize is that everything is codependent. Everything is interdependent in our economy. If you take out the retail, or if you take out a job, or if you take out a spending, something massive is going to happen in terms of the impact on GDP. If people aren't working, they don't earn a salary, they can't be an active participant in the economy in terms of purchasing, or they might be purchasing on debt, and then that brings its own consequences with it. Where do you see the opportunity, though, Tshepo, for growth? There has been a strong case made for exponential gains with nominal investments in places, and I keep talking about manufacturing because I'm thinking about the Proudly SA survey that they did last week, where even a 10% investment into manufacturing jobs could have a job yield of around 73,000. That's quite a big gain.
Well, I think the focus has always been on sectors that can create larger jobs, and manufacturing it's one of them. Of course, it depends on the type of manufacturing. Agriculture, of course, agriculture has huge spin-off in terms of its ability, agro-processing and so forth. They can be able to create a lot of jobs. Some of the public service projects they do have potential to create a lot of jobs. And of course, we know of some of these projects at schools. They've been trying to get more youth to do that. We've got the youth tax incentive program where employers are encouraged to get more youth, and that has the potential. But to what degree are this effective? And government certainly spends a lot of money, and in fact somebody was saying we should actually look at reviewing some of these incentives that companies enjoy, tax incentives, if they're really achieving the intended objective.
Talking about intended objectives, let's go back to Thuja Capital and that story. The CEO, Mthunzi Mdwaba, is unrepentant. He's saying, bring it on, basically.
Yeah, he stands by his words. He's unshaken about what he has said, and he's obviously this thing will have to go to court. And he indicated that he's going to divulge the names of the intermediaries if they have to go to court. So I think that's where the rubber will hit the road, if to see who are those people that actually divulge, and if indeed those names are divulged, I suppose those implicated will have to challenge that as well, and that will take this fight to another level.
We're talking about a lot of money, so there's a lot at stake with this one, Tshepo.
Absolutely, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are interested, not just him, but you know, a whole lot of other people, because he can't do this alone.
Tshepo, thank you very much for giving us the 411, as the kids say, on what's coming up in terms of our quarterly labour force survey, as well as this latest development now with Thuja Capital. So we'll keep you posted.